Maybe you're new in crypto, or maybe you're a veteran who likes to be reminded. Either way, I'm going to give you 10 tips that will make you win in crypto and come out of this cycle alive and well. Now, tip number 1 is to understand that 99% of influencers are not registered financial advisors, nor do they have a financial background, and they have no idea what they're talking about in regards to possible price predictions. You see a lot of YouTubers and influencers on Twitter talk about price predictions, interpreting market circumstances, or using tools like the Fibonacci level. However, most of them do not have a background in finance, nor are they registered financial advisors, which they make very clear in the videos to prevent people from blaming them for their losses and to stay out of possible lawsuits. Luckily for you, I actually do have 60 years of experience in the sales and financial industry, which hopefully gives me a bit more credibility for you. However, I'm not a registered financial advisor myself, nor do I aspire to be one as well. Now, tip number 2 is that 99% of influencers copy each other. You will see similar type of content spread with a different sauce by most of them on YouTube and Twitter. We all watch each other, and if we don't watch each other ourselves, we have researchers and team members who do. Now, Crypto Banter, for instance, has an entire team. Miles Deutscher used to be part of that team and is now on its own. If we look at Alex Becker and Elio Trades, they mention the same projects over and over again, and channels like Across the Rubicon do nothing else but repeating what they have already said. I'm not out here for a war with these guys, and each add value in their own way, but please know that it's very hard to find unique content because we all look at the algorithm to see what works. Now, one prime example is that of GameFi and AI. So we've got Miles, Elio, Becker, Crypto Casey, Lady of Crypto, and many others create videos and tweets about this. Let me show you how. So right now, here we have Miles Deutscher, right? He's talking about crypto Twitter was all over the place this week. Celebrities launching meme coins, politics, etc. Now, if we go to Lady of Crypto, crypto people love complaining. Now celebs are bringing hordes of fresh retail and they cry because. So another mention of celebrities. And then we look at Alex Becker. He says things like many alts are bouncing at the low support, have an extremely strong fleeting, blah, blah, blah. Meme season is the pre-game show, etc. If we go to Elio Trades, he says no celebrities ever. So there's the word celebrities again, talking about bear markets, talking about PvP between bear market survivors. So you see that they all speak about the same thing, but they just use a different sauce. Right, let's move on to the next tip. Now, tip 3 is to not blindly fall for the achievements some YouTubers claim that they have. So many influencers claim they have made millions and or are a millionaire, yet no one shows you a bank statement, a crypto wallet address, or a screenshot for you to verify their claim. They don't tell you whether or not their cars are leased or rented, nor do people take the time and effort out of their day to figure out where they live and if they own that property. Now, I'm not saying there isn't any influencer that is a millionaire, but I am saying that false claims are more common than you might think. Not to mention the claims where influencers act as if they made hundreds or thousands in airdrops. Unless I see some proof, or unless I'm able to verify wallets and transactions on Etherscan or Arkham Intelligence, I assume someone is lying and is just trying to get clicks. If you see a thumbnail or title on my channel talking about the next 1000x or how to make millions in crypto, it's to draw your attention and to hope that you'll click, because that's honestly how it works as an influencer. Let me show you another example. So if we go here, Elio Trades, millionaires will be made. Nano and Doge just minted, new millionaires. DIA will make you a millionaire one day. We go to Miles Deutscher. He says Solana has created thousands of new millionaires. Then we've got FTM ecosystem will create millionaires. All the world millionaires. We go to YouTube. If I wanted to be a crypto millionaire in 2024, I do this. Here's another guy, how I became a crypto millionaire. It's just titles that people use for you to actually click on it and be like, oh, I wonder how they did that. Are they really a millionaire? But they never show you a bank statement. They never show you their wallets. So it's very hard to verify. So just take everything you see, everything you hear with a pinch of salt. Right, let's move on to tip number 4. And this one is actually a very important one. It's actually more of a follow-up on tip number 2, which is that you should look for the narrative that isn't been discussed yet. For example, the banking narrative. It's not hot to talk about bank accounts, exchanging your crypto to fiat and vice versa, or to talk about the MiCA laws that are right around the doorstep. There's no hype around these topics because nobody wants to hear them or is interested in them. And the only thing people want to know is how to get rich yesterday. But boy, let me tell you, wait till Mika drops. If you chase the AI and GameFi narrative, or maybe even deep in, and don't pay attention to what happens around you or in the crypto space in general, then you might be left behind. Personally, I believe 3 narratives will perform well in the long run. The first one is GameFi, and the reason for that is because the blockchain space already has some nice projects in regard to that, but the rumors are that GTA 6 will have a blockchain integrated as well. And when that happens, we can't comprehend the magnitude on what this will do to the crypto space. Not to mention all these current GameFi projects that suddenly have to compete with billion-dollar studios. Now, the reason GameFi will do well is because it's a billion-dollar industry with a lot of potential crypto enthusiasts. And it's also the most easy way to onboard people into crypto. Now, the second narrative is tokenized real-world assets, also known as RWAs. And right now, files are being kept digital within the confines of a company's intranet or in physical safes. Now, that brings a lot of cost with it to keep up with all the changes. So imagine our car pink slips, our mortgage, deeds, and house ownership contracts all being registered to the blockchain, where you can just instantly follow the transactions to see what has happened and pull up any record that you might need without the need for an intermediary. This can especially be helpful for countries where the infrastructure lags behind in comparison to first world countries, and where it's a lot tougher to recover certain data. All they would need is internet access, and then they're ready to go. And then a third narrative I think will do extremely well is the banking narrative. Because right now, we all conduct our transactions through our bank. We use our debit or credit cards to pay off our bills and groceries, and we use SEPA or international transactions to wire money across the world. Now, blockchain technology was originally created to make this process more easier as well. With more and more people entering the crypto space, the infrastructure will become more important as well. And what I mean by that is that people want an easy on and off ramp of their fiat, which means that they want to be able to exchange their fiat to crypto and vice versa as easy as possible. Now, in the beginning, there were a lot of ways to do that, which were very cumbersome and not always needed KYC. This brought people with illicit intentions into the space, resulting in a lot of criminal behavior. With all the rules and regulations in place lately, with the biggest one being the European Union's marketing crypto assets, so MiCA, it will become more and more important that exchanges comply with these rules, which also means that only the best brokers, exchanges, and providers of cryptocurrency services will be able to conduct their businesses. And one thing they're required to do is to have their KYC in place. So personally, I'm keeping a close eye on exchanges and projects that are able to obtain banking licenses in the European Union, because those will be the ones that can actually offer services to the people in crypto in Europe. Because all exchanges and or cryptocurrency providers that are not able to obtain those licenses immediately pose a red flag for me, but will also see their customers leaving. It happened to Binance, for instance, and Gate.io, who could no longer give access to or allow trading by people from the Netherlands, for instance, while exchanges like Kraken and Crypto.com can. Now, about MiCA, MiCA entered into force on 29th of June 2023, so that was last year, and will become applicable in part provisions regarding asset reference tokens and e-money tokens, and e-money tokens are like the USDT, USDC, and so on, from the 30th June of 2024, and in other parts from the 30th of December 2024. So these are very important dates, and these are actually very important dates for projects in that space. Now, one project I like a lot, which is in the RWA space, which is in the banking narrative, is eMoney Network. I made a dedicated video on it. Be sure to check it out. I made an update video on that. Be sure to check that out as well. Now let's go to tip number 5. And tip number 5 is to not chase green candles. You know, because projects that have already pumped might have extra room left, but try to prevent being the exit liquidity for those that have already done a 5, 10x or more. Because that's how it works. We're all in a liquidity pool together, and only the strong one survives. If you're buying something at a certain price level, this means that someone else is selling, right? So always ask yourself the question, what could be the reason that he or she is selling? Now, the same goes for when you sell. That means someone else is buying. Always wonder, what does this person know that you don't know that justifies this price point for themselves? And before we move on to the next 5 tips in this video, I want to remind you that I'm not a registered financial advisor. My videos are meant to be educational, entertaining only. Always do your own research and only invest money you're willing to lose, because even though you can gain a lot in crypto, you will most likely lose it all. Also, I was able to work out a deal with our channel's sponsor, Decent, which is a hardware manufacturer which offers 2 types of hardware wallets. Now, the first one is a biometric hardware wallet. And the second one is their all-in-one card wallet. Now, the best thing about the all-in-one card wallet is that you don't need to charge it or connect it to a computer, but you could just use the NFC technology together with your phone to do your transactions and to manage your cryptocurrencies. Now, if you use my link in the description down below, they'll get you a $30 discount. I'm also doing a giveaway this month, so subscribe to my channel, leave a comment saying I like Decent, and join our free Telegram saying I like Decent as well. That will make you eligible for this month's giveaway. And while you're checking out links anyway, be sure to join us in our free Twitter as well, where I share news quicker than I do on this channel because these videos actually take a long time to produce. Right, let's go to tip number 6, which is rotating your bags. And we're going to use Chainlink for an example. I see this happening a lot, and I fell victim to this in a previous bull run. Do not try to change your bags too often. The best strategy throughout history has been to hold your bags. Now, most people lose at trading, and you will be no exception. If you take out money from a project that hasn't moved for months now and put it in a project that has green candles, you might miss out on tremendous gains and or actually lose money. Simply because a project hasn't moved yet or didn't move with the market doesn't mean it will never do so. Projects can suddenly start moving out of nowhere, and if you chase green candles, you might never see those explosive gains you're actually searching for. And like I said, we're using Chainlink as an example. Here's a period from May 24, 2022, all the way to, let's say, September 29, 2023. So that's over a year. And then all of a sudden, it went from like $6 all the way up to 20. So it did like a 3x, right? If you pull out your money here, yeah, and you rotate it in something that is already pumped, let's say a meme coin, for instance, then the meme coin would have dumped, and then this would have pumped, and you missed out on these gains, right? So just know that you can't chase everything. You have to stay in your lane to be able to get some proper gains. Now, like I said, I'm not a registered financial advisor, but just let that sink in for a minute, right? Let's move on to tip number 7, because tip number 7 is actually a very important one as well. And I know that basically all of these tips are important, but this one is extra important because it has to do with your judgment. You have to cut out the noise. And what I mean by that is that Twitter and YouTube are full of self-proclaimed experts. The crypto world resides on Twitter and Telegram. Following more than 10 people is a waste of time and will only clutter your mind in your timeline. Who has the time to look at all the tweets of the 100 people he or she follows, right? I know I don't have the time to do so. And what I'm basically saying is, once you're done with a project, just unfollow those that tweet or post about it. So you don't get tempted to get back in or to waste valuable time reading up on things you're no longer interested in. I'm sure we all have that one project we always focus on the sidelines, but the bigger picture here is to not let yourself get dragged into a rabbit hole that you can't get out of anymore. And then tip number 8, which is probably the quickest tip of this video, is to only invest money you're willing to lose, right? Because there is a lot to gain in crypto, but the chances of losing it all are just as high, especially because no one is a seasoned expert or pro trader, and we're all just playing the casino right here. Right, moving on to tip number 9. This is actually something that's valid in your entire life, right? Which is to stay in your lane. I mentioned it a minute ago. If you don't understand a project, or if it's not in the narrative that you're following, then let it pass. Warren Buffett said it best: never invest in a business you cannot understand. And successful investing takes time, discipline, and patience. No matter how great the talent or effort, some things just take time. New opportunities with the right criteria will eventually come. So just sit tight. And then the final tip of today is tip number 10, which is to keep your funds safe. Not your keys, not your crypto. And here we go again, hardware wallet. And in order of importance, it's hardware wallet, cold storage, exchanges, software wallets. Now, the reason why exchanges become before software wallets is, in my opinion, because most of them offer an insurance plan and two-factor authentication, something you don't have with software wallets. Also, be sure to disconnect from sites and dApps that you no longer use. Create several wallets for different purposes, and don't store all of your crypto in one place. If you're looking for hardware wallets, I have a couple of links to different hardware wallets in the description down below. And like I said, you can get a $30 discount on Decent. Now, if you want this channel to remain sponsored, then get yourself a Decent hardware wallet. And that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time. Doei!